Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Indoor Cycle Instructor Podcast. I'm John Macgowan, your host. I'm on location today in downtown Minneapolis, and I'm getting ready to participate in the last stop of the Global Ride DVD Roadshow. I'm sitting with Gene Nacey from Global Ride and CyclingFusion.com. How are you, Gene?
Terrific. Tired, but happy that we're on the last stop.
You've been on a 2-week whirlwind tour.
Right. It's been 11 cities in 14 days. I did the calculations last night. It's just under 9,500 miles, a third of which we drove.
Wow. So a 10,000-mile road trip.
Yeah, just about. And but it's been phenomenal. We've had sellout crowds everywhere. And I didn't know that we would get as many cyclists out. We told the folks, hey, the whole idea is to bring indoor and outdoor folks together. So all these indoor facilities told the outdoor folks they knew, and I guess they were curious enough because we had a lot of groups that were 50-50.
Perfect. Do you have a count on the number of people that participated?
Yeah, that's a good thing. I haven't done that count yet, but let's say the smallest club was 18 bikes, which was one of the best, by the way, and they made one of our live tracks because they were so enthusiastic, up to as much as 100 down in Miami.
Oh wow, that must have been quite an experience.
So yeah, it was fantastic, and that many people riding together. The only downside in that particular group, it was during the day, so we had a little trouble with the light, blocking the light for the video.
Oh,
but these kind of things we've been learning as we've gone along. Every place has been different, but it's been quite rewarding, and the feedback's been fantastic.
Perfect. I can't let it go past without crediting your cameraman that's been with you on the whole show.
Oh yeah, Paul's been amazing. I tell you, I would have been dead in the water without him because setting up all the equipment, we needed an hour and a half typically, because not only did we set up the video stuff, which they didn't have, and we took the screens with us, everything, but we also recorded all the sessions live, so that we could pick the best ones for the final DVDs, and so all that had to be set up. He had to monitor the sound, and then he would do all the filming, here and there throughout the show, so that we could post it on YouTube. And then, of course, he did all the driving, and while he was driving, I am editing the little YouTube video in the car with my air card, literally uploading it to YouTube while we're driving down the road.
Oh my gosh. What would we do without all this technology?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's almost over. We are, as I look at my watch here, we're just a couple hours away from your final, what are you calling them?
Well, we've been calling them shows because, I don't know, that just seems like the appropriate title. They are just classes. People, I'm instructing and making sure each class has a definite structure and training purpose, as our DVDs are. But they're so entertaining, it just seems to fit to call them a show.
Oh,
people
perfect.
just have a great time, and we've got a lot of good little mini interviews at the end of each class, and those are also on YouTube that people can see. We've seen so many different clubs too that we've been surprised. Some of the things that surprised us. For example, only one club had training tools on the bikes. That is, computer, heart monitor, cadence counting. So that's out of, so far, 10 sites.
Right.
I thought we'd run into a little more than that. We were also surprised that about a third had some sort of video system already set up. And they weren't sure what to do. So I think video has been on people's minds as another way to enhance the experience, but not sure exactly how to do it. And I think, this seems to be hitting the mark.
Perfect. This all ties in with your Cycling Fusion dream.
Right. The mission there is to bring these two worlds together because, as we see it, and most of the cycling organizations will agree, the more cyclists are on the road, the better for the sport, the better acceptance, the better lobby efforts to, for the sake of cycling, and it's good for the industry to grow and have more participants and so forth. Even as simple things as rail trails, more participants in rail trails helps to expand them. So, I think it's ready for a new surge, which will help the fitness clubs to get stronger, to invest in better bikes. And part of it now, I'm making it a a bigger push in the Cycling Fusion is to get training tools out there. If we want to see the outdoor cyclists come inside and do serious training inside as well as out, we need training tools. We need heart monitors. We need cadence meters. We need power meters if we can get them. Those are a little more expensive, but if we can get those things inside, they're going to see increased participants inside. Fitness facilities will be able to invest more in better programs. So I think it helps both groups if we can bring them together. There's shared interest and shared goals.
Right. You know, and I indoor cycling was technology free, and I think that was an appealing thing to a lot of traditional club athletes.
Mm-hmm.
The serious athlete is all about numbers.
Right. Feedback,
and how fast am I going? You know, where's my heart rate zone? And nowadays it's how many watts am I creating?
Right.
Blah blah blah. How far did I? And GPS enabled computers on bikes and whatnot, and they seem a little in conflict. And I know my own experiences from a club owner's perspective. You know, as soon as you add technology, but then you have maintenance issues. So hopefully
and cost issues and all that's true. But yet, I don't think the club owners can stop it now. There's a movement. In fact, several of the clubs, we came in and every bit of aerobic equipment had a screen on it.
Oh, exactly.
And you can look at some of the YouTube videos we took. I was amazed. Right. And some of the club owners told us that the last big show they went to, their trade show, that's all they saw on the floor. Just all the equipment has technology and video.
It's like the indoor cycling bikes are the only thing that don't have technology.
Exactly, and that's what we were talking about. Paul and I, as we were going around. It's so funny. The only place we're not seeing technology is in the rooms where we're working.
Right.
Is in the indoor cycling rooms. So their time has come. It's time to see the manufacturers come up to the rest of the industry in the manufacturing and say, hey, it's not that hard to put a cadence monitor on a bike, and it's not that hard for heart rate and straps, and those two things should be drop in the bucket. Not so much just in cost, but just easy to do. Lots of options. Power becomes a little more difficult, but we have to get there eventually.
And the more I learn about power, the more valuable I see it as a training tool.
Absolutely.
And exactly. All right. Your quest is to bring these two groups together. Well, how else are you going about accomplishing that?
On the website we started, Cycling Fusion, it's just sort of creating a space, a place where people that feel that those two things are like a marriage made in heaven can come together, share ideas, teaching. Many of them are instructors, teaching ideas and ways to introduce each other to the other side. So I'm looking for a place people can talk, invite each other, tell stories, how they used to only ride outside, now they do both, or vice versa. And I think once people see that,
we need stories from the competitive cyclist who refused to go to an indoor cycling class to tell a story about, I finally went back to one and they weren't the horror show aerobics on bikes that I thought they were. And all of a sudden I realized that this is good solid training and a viable option for my weekly training regimen.
Yeah, and that's the other thing we've been talking about, that it is one of the reasons that the outdoor group has stayed away, is that they've had a bad experience or an instructor that didn't do any cycling outside and would sort of make up stuff. Okay, yes. I'm sure that you've heard it, seen it, whatever.
Seen it, experienced it,
and a cyclist knows it like that.
Right.
They absolutely see that this is not cycling, it's not going to help me, and they get turned off. And that's part of the website. You'll see in some of the philosophy. We want solid, instruction, with nothing contraindicated. We want at my facility, all of our instructors have to do at least some riding outside so they know what it's like.
Right. Perfect.
So they can talk from a little experience, and it makes sense then when we say, you've got to have solid techniques.
Great. What else do you want to add?
No, nothing except that we encourage people to come to the site and just share their experiences. Especially, we really want to hear stories. How did you find your way indoors and it really benefited you? How did you find your way outdoors and it expanded your world? And I think those kinds of things people like to read about. So we have blogs and forums and hopefully a place for them to share that.
Perfect. Gene Nacey, Global Ride DVD and CyclingFusion.com. Thanks for joining us on the Indoor Cycle Instructor Podcast.
Thanks, John.
Appreciate it.